Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what NASADIYA, SUKTAM, the core of Rig Veda, before the creation of the universe. This is particular statement of 7 lines of NASADIYA Upanishad in Sanskrit. I am not going to repeat it. English version given by others. Let me explain that step by step and what the 7 steps are explained about it and what my conviction is. Now, Nasri Appreciation is the hymn of non-entity origin of the universe. There was neither non-existent or existence, then neither the realm of space nor the sky which is beyond. What stirred, where and whose perception is the very first statement. This is a statement which has been made very clearly. Second, there was neither death nor immortality. Then no distinguishing signs of night or the day. The one breathed endless by the own impulse. Other than that, there was nothing else. This is second statement about the death, immortality, etc. First is existence or not existence. Second is death and immortality. Third one is darkness. There was at first by darkness hidden without distinctive mark that this was water, and that which becoming by the void was converted, the one by force of heat came into being. So somewhere this is second stage of water and heat and darkness as such. The fourth one, who really knows, who will have proclaim it, where was it produced, when it was created. God came thereafter with the creation of this universe. Then who knows whether it was there or not there. In other words, they say even gods and goddesses are created afterwards, even they do not know what it was, other thing. It's very clear statement. Then whether God's will created or whether it has made, perhaps it formed itself or perhaps it did not. Only who is there overheard highest heaven knows. Only he knows or perhaps he does not know. These are the different statements given by different people. I would not like to go into details. Everybody has a right to translate the Sanskrit scriptures the way they want, according to their own understanding and conviction, and that's it. I'm not really standing a judgment at anybody. I just made the 7 lines very clear to you the way it's been given by somebody else. But now comes the question of NASADIYA SUKTAM, Rig Veda 10, page 129. My conviction is chapter 10 represent 10 stages of development. This particular statement is in the 10th part, and under the 10th is 129 shlok. It is not by coincidence that according to me 10th means 10 stages of development, and this particular thing appearing in that may be or may not be a thing of importance. But since it's 10, I am only talking about 10 stages of development or the Dasavatar. Now come to the question of the 7th statement, which I am going to explain to you what somebody has written. I do not know who has written it. I am not standing a judgment. I am just reading that what is given there as a general perception, which I think is more or less seems to be identical. But there are different people who talk differently. What I showed you earlier is different. This is different. Now let's make this particular thing very clearly. First sutra. Then even nothingness was not nor existent. There was no air nor the heaven beyond it. What covered it? Where was it? In whose keeping? Was there that cosmic water in depths unfathomed? In other words, existence existed, another is what form or what is there, another thing nobody knows what it, completely it is ill defined, not perceived by anybody as such. All the characteristics of the space have not been explained. Nobody knows what is the space, origin, this and that is the point which is made. what it existed, not existed, what form, what water, other thing is nothing at all. That's and I'm very clear. It says no idea what was there before creation happened. It's a very statement and very honest statement, and I do agree with it. Now, I'm going to talk about my conviction based on my experience. I do think the particular thing is not defined by anybody else, but I do believe the primordial space was covered with the Divine Mother Adi Prashakti, and this particular picture has 18 arms and represents organ 40. Now, you see that in the center part, Adi Prashakti and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are created. You can see 9 petals on top, other 9 petals are down. There are 18 petals, and these 18 petals have some mathematical design. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh has got a pattern, and from that angle I see the universe. This was the position which is talking about, which was there existent. I do believe Nirankar Nirgun Brahman is a formless state which everybody talks about it and nobody can conceive. But I know it is Sakar Sargun Brahman which is there. It is only the people who are clairvoyant can see, understand, a divine mathematician can understand, because they have the mind in tune with the universal consciousness. From that angle, I would say statement is it was Adi Prashakti there in the divine mathematical design, and the structure which is given by the ancient Indian sages is very, very clear. And I am making 18 arms and the presence of organ 40. I am going to explain to you as we go on. I relate that with the divine periodic table which modern science has done. As I told you, I am a spiritual scientist. Spirituality of Veda, Upanishads and modern science, I am seeing the bridge and then saying. In this particular thing, you can see two things very clearly. One, 7 periods are divine formations, and that is what I've seen in this particular NASADIYA. There are only 7 shlokas. So 7 shlokas is everything is made of 7 parts. Earth is made of 7 parts, Antriksh is made of 7 parts, heaven is made of 7 days, everything. That's the divine mathematical design, and that is what is written in that. This is what it is. And you can see in the same in periodic table at the red line on the left side. Other side, as far as the groups are concerned, only 18 groups are there. But in the first period, there is only hydrogen, helium, there are 2. Next period, there are 10. Third, 18. Then 36, 54, 72, 90, etc. and goes on. But this is the divine mathematics which I say modern science has made is easy for ancient Indian wisdom to be explained systematically, step by step. Now come to the question of the second one. Then there was neither death nor immortality, nor was there then the torch of night or day. The one breathed windlessly and self-sustaining. There was that one, then there was no other one. That means it comes to the question, there was no death, there was no immortality, everything existed, and there was only one thing. Whatever was there in that form. And I think that is a great statement. Entire universe is like one form only, not 2 forms, neither this nor that, not day, night, this or that. I think that clear. Everything was uniform, is homogeneous and done with it. I think that statement I do understand very clearly. And then talking about Mrityu to Amrit, like Astoma Satgamya, Mrityuma Amritgamya. You can put it that way. Then come to the question of my conviction. Then one statement from Chandogya Upanishad which comes to my mind is Tat Tvam Asi. Everything is like the divine nature. Tat means divine nature, Tvam means everything, Asi is identical. And that means if there is the divine nature, everything is identical, it's uniform, as this particular statement very clearly, then my conviction is if everything is uniform, consistent, everything is identical, there should be some mathematical design. And that mathematical design I am talking about is Devyank. So I think that brings clear. Everything was uniform, everything was identical, there was no differences, but homogeneous as such. But there was a divine mathematics which was there, and that is Divyank, which is I am talking about. Now comes the question of conviction. The divine design of nature, to the best of my knowledge, is Divyank, and that is revealed for the first time in the history of 2015 as 22 by 21 as a Brahmank, 10 stages of development, and 0.34419 as a Panchabhuta of Lord Shiva, equivalent to 1.618034. That's the first time mathematical design which is there in Rig Veda is being revealed for the first time from 2015. Below you can see the symbolic representation of the same thing. You can see the outer orbit as 22 by 21. You can see 10 pentagons and also 5 tetragons. Is same thing graphically represented. This was the stage with which divine mathematics, the uniform was created before the creation. And that is my conviction, and that is the reason maybe I am able to explain A to Z, because everything has come from that with Divyank alone. Then come to the question of third. It explained general perception is, at first there was only darkness wrapped in darkness. All this was only unilluminated cosmic water, and that from which came to be enclosed in nothing, arose at least born of the power of the heat. Now this particular statement is very, very significant. It's talking about darkness. What Maharishi Yajnavalkya talked about, tamsoma jyotirgamya. Everything is dark, everything inertia, everything in the thing, and from there only light has come. And how it does is what I am going to explain to you step by step, what I think is right. Those three prayers of Maharishi Yajnavalkya, Asdoma Satgamya, Mrityuma Amritgamya, Tamsoma Jyotirgamya, is very clearly fitted into these three concepts very clearly. I think he knew it very well and explained it in his own language perfectly. Now coming to my conviction for the third time, the presence of darkness. That means whatever was there in dark, and I am convinced beyond all inert matter is in a cubical form, where focus is in the center, where you have proton, electron, everything, and electrons are also centered inside, nothing is going outside. Once you have that particular concept very clearly, there will be only dark, not outside, nothing inside. Unless it is charged, it does not become light. And that is what I see in this particular thing. The orbit of goddess Aditi is helium-4. Then that is the first thing. Orbit of goddess Gayatri is neon-21 at that second period. Orbit of goddess Adi-Prakshakti is argon-40 at the third period. 2, 10 and 18. And that I think explains very clearly that is the darkness, and all the inert matter is dark unless until they are charged. Now come to the question of fourth stage. In the beginning, desire descended on it. That was the primal seed, born of the mind. Sages who have searched their hearts with wisdom know that which is akin to that which is not. Now the question of, first is the stage of creation. Everything as it is uniformly accepted, which three statement Maharishi Yajnavalkya also talked about it. I have also explained in the mathematical design which is there. From that mathematical design emerges something which is mind, which is going to create. Now you come to the question of karma yoga, action, thought, process, and that is where the mind is talked about in the fourth itself. Once mind is spoken about it, that means there is something which emerged inside to form itself for further, to creation further. I think that's very clearly clear. First non-existent, then consistent, mathematical design, and inert matter again. Now inert matter is going to produce something further, and that's how I think it's very, very intelligent way of saying it. Now the question of the present divine mind of creation, and I do know the first stage of creation is 22 by 1, and that is what it is. See, solar system is made of 21 parts, earth is made of 7 parts, Antariksh is made of 7 parts, heaven. But then 21 parts become 22 parts for the next creation, which Upanishads are also talking about. Same thing I have shown in medical science also. RBC is made of 21 parts, becomes 22, goes to 10 stages. So first stage of creation is very clear, and I call it Brahman, 22 by 21. I think that is mind's beauty, how it's going to produce. That first process is creation, and that is Lord Brahma itself, and is equivalent to 22 by 21. That is the first stage of Divyang. Then come to the question of number 5. And they all stretched their card across the world and knows what was above and what is below. Now seminal power made fertile mighty forces. Below was the strength and over it was impulse. Now you have brought. Now once the mind is created, now one mind wants to create, and for that Retu or ovum and sperm come to the play. Once they come to the play role, only then creation is going to come. I think that is very clear in the fifth one itself. That means everything is stretched, mind is there, want to produce, and to produce that you need ovum and sperm put together, and then further procreation will come. I think that's very, very systematic in this approach in Rig Veda. Now I talk the first was the creation, second is stage of procreation as such, and that is Swadhisthana Chakra, and this has got the power of 10 again, and how the water element things move on, and I think that statement is very clear. Creation, very inert, everything, the mind to create it, and then process of procreation is coming to the fifth stage. I think that's phenomenal. Now come to the question of the sixth stage. But after all, who knows, who can say when it all came and how creation happened? The Devas, gods themselves, are later than creation, and so who knows truly when it all arose? Now the question is very clear. Creation is done, mind is there, everything is done. And gods are created afterwards, not before that. So what was there before, and who knows where it started? What is the time of statement which was done? That's a question which comes up. When did it happen? What was the age? How many years, millions and trillions of years ago? When the whole thing creation is very clear, there is no idea, no knowledge, because nobody knows about it. I think that makes statement very clear. Space was inert, dark, inactive, dead thing, then the mind to create, then creation, and then God created all the gods and thereafter, but no one actually knows what it is all about it. I think it's very systematic, logical concept in this, and I'm glad that I'm trying to explain that with a logical evidence. That comes my conviction. Presence of divine nature. The divine design of nature was ever present. That again, Tat Tvamasi, everything was that it is. And I make one statement very clear: nothing can come out of nothing, nothing has ever come out, nothing will ever come out. Universe was eternal, is convertible. That shows there are 5 stages of matter which are there. There is solid Prithvi, there is water, Jal, Apa, there is fire, Agni, Vayu, air, and essence or Akash, quintessence. So solid to quintessence, and quintessence again to solid is the 10 stages we are going through. Solid, water, fire, says quintessence, quintessence, air, fire, water, and say. These are the 10 stages which are going, and that is what it is all about. I think the process is also occurred that heat is required, and less heat, water and solid, more heat, vayu and thing, and that's how it goes on. And that is what chemistry knows very well. Everything is changeable, and once you understand the change, everything will be perfectly fine one by one. And I think once that is understood, you know the process very well. Now come to the question 7th. Whence all creation had its origin, he, whether he fashioned it or whether he did not, he who surveys it all from the highest heaven, he knows, or may even he does not know. Now the question is, you have to come to this question: the person is formed, now he knows what is there, what was there. Whether he knows or doesn't know is a question come. But somewhere along the line, there is a put an idea that human beings can know it. That's my point. He does not know, does not arise. Human beings are the greatest creation of nature. They are made with the mind, consciousness, intelligence, intuition into there. They can go back and experience the entire universe within themselves. Once they understand the conviction within themselves, then they will know the divine design of nature, mathematically precise, concise, and other things, and that is what it is. Now, let me give you my conviction. My conviction is human beings are the cosmic Purusha. They can be in tune with divine nature. They can recognize, conceive, and reveal the divine nature completely. And I make one thing clear: Rig Veda, by and large, is a subject of atom, elements, molecules, compounds, cells, and right up to accumulation. And interesting enough, Rig Veda's whole beauty is converted into Aitri Upanishad as a cosmic Purusha, where how it was formed, other thing is a phenomenal representation of Rig Veda into Aitri Upanishad was Maharishi Atriya is a phenomenal, and that is cosmic Purusha, Lokpalan, which is there to make sure every other object of the being is well taken care of. I think human beings can be, but can they recognize, can they conceive and reveal? And I'm glad that I, Shiv Bhushan Sharma, in 2015 managed to recognize, conceive, and reveal the divine design of nature for the first time in the history of mankind and put it across as Divyank 22 by 21 to the power of 10.34419, equivalent to 1.6180. Entire universe divine mathematics, every concept in the process is well conceived, received, and revealed to the world, so that we can have a uniform education of maths, physics, chemistry, biology, and medical sciences perfectly. And I think that makes my job much more significant, and also change that all the problems of the education in the world in the form of maths, physics, chemistry, basic sciences is defective. I can rectify that one by one. Now comes the question of my opening statement. Whenever in doubt, I watch cosmos. Why? I see an omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, perfect divine design of nature in the cosmos. You can see it. And amazing 10 stages of sun you can see in the spiral galaxy. Aham Brahmasmi, I am like a god. And Tattvamasi, everything is identical. So I am identical with everything. So I have experienced the entire universe within my own self. Rig Veda to Upanishads to everything. Once you experience the within thing and then show to the world, only then you can see in tune with universal consciousness. As a result, you can reveal all the divine designs of nature, and I think have done that. Now come to the question of one statement of Sanatana Dharma: Pindandam Brahmandam Ekam. Human being and universe are identical. Human beings are microcosmic representation, macrocosmic universe. Human body, Shiv Bhushan Sharma, has got 10 chakras. Solar system has got 10 heavenly bodies, and so is the spiral galaxy with 10 stars. And now see, once this is 10 is understood, I think these things are very, very clear. Now the comes as coming to Tattvamasi, again Chandogya. And most of the people say, I'm like a god. I don't agree, because I don't see the meaning in Tattvamasi. My experience and conviction is everything is identical with the divine nature. Once you understand the divine nature, you know very well where to proceed. Now I come to realize this particular statement made me real. If everything is identical, there should be mathematical design, and that mathematical design is Devyang. And I think in the process, this 10th part of Rig Veda with 7 slokas, I think it's very clear how before the creation everything darkness, mrityu, form. And Jaisnavalkya knew it very well. Tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityu ma amritgamya, and asdo ma asatgamya. These 3 things. I have gone one step further to say khando ma akhandgamya. Everything is disintegrated, which others did not realize. I now understand the akhand, and that is what Devank is all about. And I think once that is understood, we are very clear how we are going to proceed to the next stage. Like yesterday, Anant is infinity and creation, the first sprout, and done. And this is how it was. Now we have come to that stage, and that is now both together. Now we are going to further to understand how the creation happened thereafter. I have talked about Adi Parashakti, Goddess Gayatri and Aditi. How did they appear? What happened thereafter creation form? We will talk next in the process. Now in this process everything is this. I think I'll leave it at that. I think enough for the time being. Now one thing is very clear. Rig Veda is a sense of atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, cells and all the energies in the form. And one energy which is most important in Rig Veda is Agni, that is fire. Less energy you have water and solid, and more energy Vayu and Akash. So no wonder, and all the gods and goddesses by and large are electronic chemistry from atom, element, molecules and that, and you're going to see how step by step it's come to the stage we have the greatest human being, everything, and with the divine mathematics of Devyank, you'll be able to explain everything systematically this. Now confusion is going because we know Tattvamasi, and that is divine mathematics, that is thing. Now in the light of Devyank, we are going to see hereafter everything in that reflection. And as a result, that will become the subject of interest for studies for everybody, because everybody will have to study maths, physics, chemistry, biology and medical sciences only with Devyank in mind. I think from that, I think is enough for this. Thank you very much.